So this didn't get a whole lot of media attention, but I'm going to read it to you so you're aware of it. I mean, I've got a couple of stories here, foxnews.com, AP, New York Post. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention now says the novel coronavirus does not spread easily from touching surfaces or objects. Now, the experts are warning that doesn't mean it's no longer necessary to take practical and realistic precautions. But according to FoxNews.com, it's not exactly clear when the Federal Health Agency appears to have recently changed its guidelines from early March that simply said it may be possible to spread the virus from contaminated surfaces. CDC now includes surfaces or objects under the section that details ways in which the coronavirus does not readily transmit. Other ways in which the virus doesn't easily spread is from animals to people or people to animals, the federal agency said on its updated page. They say COVID-19 is a new disease. We're still learning about how it spreads. It may be possible for COVID-19 to spread in other ways, but these are not thought to be the main ways the virus spreads. The CDC reminds people the virus mainly spreads person to person, noting that the virus causes a COVID-19 infection. And you wonder why people are cynical. You wonder why people don't really accept what they're trying to tell us. And I don't know what the agenda is here. It could just be that they don't know and they're trying to figure it out, or it could be something a little scary, something nefarious. In Chicago, they've now begun fining churches if they hold worship services that conflict with the Democrat governor there, J.B. Pritzker's statewide stay-at-home order. The Chicago Police Department told Fox News that there are 3 churches that will start being fined for the services that they held last Sunday. Now listen to this. I want you to, and you sit down if you're subject to fainting spells. Because religious services in Chicago are considered non-essential under Illinois' current order, they're limited to fewer than 10 people. How about that? Pritzker, as you know, has been one of the most aggressive governors in ordering shutdowns. He says, he tweeted in mid-April, I know how hard it is to break from traditional celebrations of togetherness, but I believe passionately that adapting our expressions of faith in these times is one of the most faithful acts of all. He said the virus doesn't take a day off, and therefore you all need to have the facts. In Minnesota, this is an actual factual reporting. The governor of Minnesota will allow 50 people in restaurants, but churches can only have 10. The governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, announced yesterday restaurants can host up to 50 customers in outdoor seatings, but churches will still be limited to 10, even outdoors. Now, again, call me crazy, call me cynical. I'm not quite able to wrap my brain around a church being told you can't have any more than 10 worshipers, even outside in the parking lot, but 50 people dining is A-okay with us in the state of Minnesota. Well, do you know what the Catholic Church is doing in Minnesota? They're saying, go pound salt. The Catholic Church in Minnesota issued a letter yesterday. The Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis announced they will just not be complying with the governor's mandate. The Archdiocese of Minnesota is pointing out, the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, they're pointing out the governor lifted Minnesota's stay-at-home order. But under the order, a maximum of 10 people are allowed within a confined space during worship services. The state's Catholic Church believes services can be held on its own terms as long as they take proper sanitation measures, private social distancing protocols, and 1/3 limited capacity. The letter says we are blessed to live in a nation that guarantees the free exercise of religion. This right can only be abridged for a compelling governmental interest. That's why a large majority of states now allow in-person religious services. The letter is very explicit. They're going to say, no, we're not going to do this. So I guess they're going to do what J.B. Pritzker in Chicago and what they're doing in Illinois. They're going to have to start fining churches. Maybe they'll shut them down the way they've tried to shut down hair salons and any businesses that don't comply with the almost always Democrat governors' mandates. It's almost all Democrats. You know that. This has become a left-right thing. I have no idea how we got here. I don't know why it is about being a liberal Democrat that makes you think that you can limit 10 people in a house of worship, but you can have 50 people have a steak and pork chops. Tell me. You tell me right now. I want the lines cleared. I want you to make the argument that you understand limiting houses of worship, but not restaurants the same way. Please, 1-800-655-MIKE here in the ReliefFactor.com studios. Speaking of and while Eric is screening your calls, I'm going to take a moment to express my heartfelt joy at something you've done. You did it again. You did it again. We are at 572 sponsored children for our prison fellowship Angel Tree ministry. It is a ministry, and I've got a message for you. I've got to tell you something that is on my heart, and you want to roll your eyes and call me schmaltzy, that's fine. I'm a big baby. I talk to somebody I dearly love every night when I go to bed. It's stupid, probably. I don't know. It helps me. If you're a longtime listener to the show, you know who she is. And I talk to her, and I hear her voice. She called me a big dummy last night. You know why? Because all through the month of May, as I've been urging you to help these poor children who are the children of American prisoners, these are the sons and daughters of people in prison. And I've been telling you that a $200 sponsorship will send a big, beautiful gift box of love to these children. And right now, at 572 kids, that means we're 78 children short of hitting an astounding goal of 650 kids in the month of May. Do you realize how awesome that is? I told the powers that be, I can't do this, guys. I'm not going to get our listeners to sponsor 650 kids. And like my bosses do, they give me that knowing smile and they say, trust your audience, Mike, trust God, trust in the Lord, and I'll bet you'll be surprised. Well, boy, am I surprised again. We're at 572 kids. So that conversation I had before bed last night, and that special person who I talked to, she said, hey, dummy, you keep asking people to give $200. That's a big ask. Why don't you ask for $50? Do you know we need about 300 people to donate $50? And that means we'll hit our goal. Now, the Mike Gallagher Show is blessed to have over 500 radio stations around the country and the world listening to this show. We have the highest ratings of anybody in our company, and I'm proud of that. We have the most response. This audience is absolutely exceptional. So of the millions of people who listen to this show every week, if I can't find about 300 people to donate $50, I think I need to take 2 weeks off and quit. She was right last night in calling me a dummy. So here's my ask. And incidentally, in that gift box, I've been leaving out a very important thing that somebody reminded me. Yes, the gift box has $150 of groceries for a child in an inner city, in an impoverished area. Yes, the gift box has sporting goods equipment like a basketball or a baseball or a football or a volleyball. Yes, it has a Bible, like a Zondervan Camper's Bible. You know what it also has? It has a letter that reminds a child that God loves them. The letter absolutely reminds them of the love of God for that child. So here's the deal, as somebody running for president would say. Here's the deal, kids. Come on, man. Here's the deal. A $50 contribution. $50 when you go to mikeonline.com and click on the Angel Tree Prison Fellowship. If 300 and 20, I think is the exact number of listeners donate $50, we'll hit our goal, which will be one of the biggest miracles I've ever seen. So I'm just going to put it in God's hands and yours. Maybe you'll be touched and impacted and want to give $50. I think she's right. She usually was. And every time she called me a big dummy, she was right. We'd both laugh. Well, this big dummy would like to ask you to donate $50 to my Prison Fellowship Angel Tree campaign. Go to MikeOnline.com, click on the Angel Tree banner at the top of the page. You'll see the Angel Tree banner there. It just takes a couple of minutes to donate. And all I'm asking is $50. Some of you have donated hundreds. Some of you have donated thousands. You are saints. You are amazing. All I'm asking is for $50 for about 320 listeners. I think it can be done. We might do it today or tomorrow. If we could do that by Memorial Day weekend, holy cow. Do you know how excited I'll be to get in the road tomorrow? I'm doing a road trip tomorrow. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. I'm going to drive about, 20 hours in 3 days, but I'm ready for it. Do you know how happy I'll be driving all that way if I know we've hit our goal of 650 children, something that I thought was impossible? If you want to donate $50, please go to MikeOnline.com and click on the Angel Tree Fellowship, Prison Fellowship banner. And maybe we'll hit our impossible goal of 650 child. Or you could also text the keyword kids to 1-800-655-6453. Just text the keyword kids to 800-655-6453. We'll send you back the link where you can make a secure online donation. And thank you, thank you, thank you on behalf of me and behalf of her, who's right to call me the big dummy. We're in the ReliefFactor.com studios. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about churches and the Minnesota, the St. Paul and Minneapolis diocese telling the governor of Minnesota, go pound. By the way, I said go pound salt. I think it's go pound sand. But you know what I mean. Take a long walk off a short pier on one of the beautiful lakes in the Land O'Lakes, Minnesota. Stick around. More of the Mike Gallagher Show coming up.